Well, good damn afternoon, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. I know we just wrapped up a live about an hour ago, but here we are again because I got some more good shit. As I told you before, and as I hope you read in the description of this live, I have two great artists who rose through the ranks. DC Comics, big deal. We all know who that is, whether you're a comic book head or not. You know who the hell that is, Batman, Superman. And like a lot of us, they got tired of the woke shit. But like few people do, they decided to break away from it. They could not, sit there in good conscience and be a part of the poisoning of our youth and of our country eventually. Because politics and everything, our policies are downstream from pop culture and the DC comics and the Marvel universes and things in entertainment. They influence the things that we eventually need to deal with. So these two guys, David Brohawk Williams and Gabe Eltaeb, you guys might recognize Gabe's name because I do an detailed breakdown of action movies from the 80s and 90s with Gabe and Sean. These guys, very talented, very wise in the ways of the comic book world, and they're funny too. So this is going to be a good time. This is a nice departure from what I usually talk about, on my lives. But these guys are great. So damn it, enough. Without further ado, let's bring them in here. Mr. Williams.
Yo, what's up?
And Mr. Eltaeb, how are you guys doing today?
Real good.
Oh, hold on. For some reason, I got Gabe muted. Unmute. You got your stuff? There you go.
I had me muted because I opened a YouTube tab.
Here we go.
I'll try that again. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me here. I will not boomer my equipment anymore.
That was like when somebody unlocks a door and you get in and then you pull it too early and you keep waiting to get the timing right. But we got it right. And not only is it special because I have two guys who aren't necessarily in the vein that I usually speak about here, but this is the first time I've ever had guests on my show. I've been doing this for 4 years. I have over, I think, somewhere around 1,200 videos I've done. I've been on other people's platforms, but no one has ever been on mine. So you guys are popping that cherry. Be gentle. Be gentle. Dave, that's not what I meant.
Everyone knows. I mean, you can ask David. I am known as a gentle lover.
All right, well, good. You're going to need your skills.
That's documented. That's documented.
We're country cocking it today.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that, guys, is a little inside joke we have. And yes, it's as gross as you think it is. So, fellas, thank you. I'm so glad you guys are here. I appreciate it. It is Friday. People got shit to do on a Friday, and you're here with me. So thank you very much. Shout out to everybody in the comment section. A lot of my usual suspects returning. None the Miser. We see him in the comment section on the Double Impact action movie breakdown. So thanks for being here, man. So let's get it started. I'll start with you, Dave. You can answer this one, and then we'll go around. So what was your upbringing like? Did you have the need for a red pill moment, or have you always been against the woke bullshit?
Well, I had a divorced parents and stuff, and my mom was very kind of leftist, and my dad was, not really anything, but he was, military, and he was regimented and all this other kind of stuff. But my grandparents were the ones that instilled this conservative mindset in me. Both sets of grandparents, and I've always been mentally a conservative, and just always looked at things practically. So if it didn't seem practical, and it was just too outside of the box, I was always kind of like that. Yeah, that's not for me, or that's not how it should be. So I was always, a conservative. I didn't vote until Bush came into office.
Okay.
And I was hoping that he would have been better. But the after 9/11, I was just like, yeah, he's gonna fix this. I was wrong. My bad.
Whoops.
Oops.
Yeah, I think a lot of us made that mistake, man. We thought, yeah, especially after something like that, nobody has ever slapped America in the face like that. Yeah. I mean, that was a slap to the face and a kick to the nuts at the same time. And we just knew that Bush was going to come in here and set shit straight, and he did not.
And in spite of that, it didn't make me go, well, all Republicans are, no, the principles are still there. It's just that they weren't living up to them.
Right.
So that's what my mindset is, that you're hoping that these people live up to the words that they proclaim to be about and the standards. And if they don't, then that shouldn't be a reflection completely on conservatives or Republicans and Christians or anything like that. You take those people and isolate them and say they were the problem. So that's how I came up, my being, cool, as far as being in this industry also.
Well, Gabe?
Well, my pronouns are Z and Zier.
Time out, sir. Time out. Time out.
Flag on the field. Rainbow flag on the field.
No. I played a lot of football, but I did escape retardation from the helmet to helmet contact. So no pronouns in this no pronouns in this household. But I grew up in a conservative, patriotic American family. On my mom's side, they're Mexican, Hispanic, Spanish, and other things, and been here since the 1700s. So they were in the Colorado, Texas territories before there was a nation here. So we're OG Americans there. My dad came here in the mid-70s, escaping Muammar Gaddafi's socialist by the way, dictatorship in Libya. Murdered my grandfather, killed my dad's friends, had my dad on a kill list. We never got to visit. My whole life, I've never been to Libya. Met all my aunties and cousins and uncle. I don't know those people because of fucking socialism. So no way. I was more leftist when I was younger out of ignorance. You grew up in California public schools, you're like, white people are bad. George Bush is bad. And I do think he's a globalist, but whatever. But you're taught racist, white, this, that, and the other. And it was always like a deep voice in my head growing up with my World War II grandfather, my Arab father, this shit is wrong. I could feel it was very wrong my whole life, and I couldn't really figure it out. Being married 26 years in November and having 2 children that are adults now, you feel it because you're a father. You feel responsibility to your wife, to your kids. And I was raised in a masculine way. I've had a job since I was 12. Started off mowing yards, working in my grandparents' tortilla factory, throwing newspapers, and I did it with a smile. We were just, you work in this family. Everybody works. We work real hard. Grandparents owned the tortilla factory. My uncle's a lawyer. My dad's a chef. Everybody was self-employed, hardworking. So work never bothered me. And one thing work will instill in you, which makes you conservative, is you see what $1 is worth and you see how your society was built. You realize, I turn on the sink, there's clean water. I flip the light switch, there's electricity. You see that all this stuff was bled for because you go and work as a little kid throwing newspapers, whatever, and it's like, this sucks. That's how everything got here. Everybody worked. So then you feel a responsibility to pay it forward, to pay back your ancestors. So I was more leftist when I was younger, but I was never a leftist SJW, nothing. I was a little bit more confused. You know what I mean? But definitely being a father, husband, I'm totally conservative and on board. And happy to be away from DC Comics and Warner Brothers and their filth.
Yes. I wanted to comment on something you said. You said your dad was on a kill list. See, when people hear the word socialism, especially young people, and like you mentioned, when you're young, you don't really you're not really anchored anywhere. And of course, you're going to go maybe lean left a lot because it just seems cool. It just sounds better. That guy, he reminds me of my dad. So he must be bad, the authoritarian. But when people talk about socialism, they just think about free shit. They don't think about the kill list part of it. Right. See, socialism leads you to communism, and communism leads to high body count. Gabe and I and Sean, every week we talk about action movies. They have high body counts. They pale in comparison to the tens of millions of bodies racked up by communists. So they don't even consider that. Socialism, cool. And by the time they snap out of it, they're in a camp, they've lost 50 pounds, and they're about to be executed. Right. So we need to do our part to keep us away from that. And in case you guys haven't noticed, Dave there, you see that drawing board? Is that a table? A drawing table?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're about this shit. It's real. And so you mentioned, not being a part of the DC woke machine. What were the glory days of DC like? What was it like before it turned into this and drove you guys away from there, Dave?
Well, I eased out long before it got like crazy where Gabe, had to jump and he had a burning parachute, just like, I gotta get out of here. So,
Right.
But I kind of saw some of the writing on the wall, but I was moving towards a thing to where I wanted to do my own thing. I had enough fueling the machine that was already running. You know what I mean? I was like, why am I propping these people up? Doing Spider-Man, Batman, whatever it is. I could do my own take on said characters that I like. You know what I mean? And, create IPs that could be movies or video games or just a comic alone. It doesn't have to be all that extra stuff, but have a sense of my own. And that's what I wanted. And the bureaucracy that goes on in, comic books, animation, consumer products and all this, I just had enough, of being owned, so I had to bounce. Gabe, on the other hand, has a crazy story.
Well, again, I'm half Mexican and half Arab. You will find nothing but body hair and machismo and bullet casings and everything that has to do with being a man around my family, my house. And I don't do things in a small way. I'm a big guy, by the way. I'm 6'4". I'm every inch of that. And will you share my screen, Jericho? If you look underneath us, I'm sharing my screen. This is almost a year ago, like in a week and a half. Do you know how to do that? Or
I have no idea. Gabe, we're lucky to be sharing the screen with each other right now.
You see those little like symbols with little heads and little white squares?
Yeah, I do.
There's one that has like two heads and then like a square.
Two heads and a square.
Or like, and that means like share all the people's faces and then share the screen.
Okay, let's see.
And then you can click on click on my little image at the bottom. And it says like add to stream. That little thing I'm sharing that has the red coloring has Superman on it.
Oh, okay.
You see that?
How about
there
that?
You go.
Boom.
There you go.
We're
so there's
the job.
There's me. Hold on. See that picture there? Hold on.
There it is.
That's me.
There it is.
And look at that Breitbart quote. Artist quits DC Comics over Superman ditching American way motto. It's a bunch of fucking nonsense is the quote they attribute to me. Yeah, a year ago I got a new Superman book where they made him like bisexual guy and he doesn't have American citizenship and he doesn't use the slogan Truth, Justice, American Way and they're just intentionally destroying everything that he is to give a middle finger to this culture. And like I said, when you grew up the way I did with the father and the grandfather I had and all that stuff, you love it here. Like, are you kidding me? I have a whole half of my Libyan family that I've never met. I don't even know how to be sad about that, but it's heartbreaking. Think about your aunts and uncles and, oh, we call him Uncle, Uncle Slappy and my grandma makes this one dish and you can't believe how good it is. I don't have any of that with my dad. I don't know my people because of socialism. It's heartbreaking. If we went back there, Gaddafi would have had my dad arrested and killed because my dad dared to go to meetings talking about we kind of don't like Gaddafi when he was in college. That's all he did. Is he did hate speech, I guess, against the party. You know what I mean? So I would never be a part of bringing that to this country. This is the greatest country in the history of the world. It's done more good for more people than anything else. It's not perfect. But if you're going to participate in destroying our cultural myths and legends, I'll say you're a coward. And I couldn't put my name on that. So I walked out of there. I chewed them out live on a huge live stream on a big comic book channel. My friend Ethan Van Sciver is kind of the ringleader of Comicsgate, is our group. And he has a big show, watched every Monday night by like over 1,000 people. And I just called DC Comics out. I had resigned. I told them I'd finish my contract. I'll finish it. I'll do a good job. But I called them out on there. I said, this is, as you see the quote, you know what I mean? Like, it's a bunch of effing nonsense. And the other one is Superman Colors quits over comic books' embrace of wokeness. Tired of this shit. That was the first thing I said. We were talking about it on the air. Like, how dare you? And I'm not even a big Superman fan. I like Batman way better. But I understand what Superman is. That's Coca-Cola. That's Ford. That's Mickey Mouse. That's like, you don't mess with that. That is Americana. That is our cultural patrimony. And for them to just take a dump all over it like it never happened, like it never gave us the clean running water and the medicine and the space travel and the internet, like this is all a part of that fabric. And they have no appreciation. It disgusts me. So I did what 99% of my counterparts in this business wouldn't do. I had the balls to put my money where my mouth is and say, I don't need your crap money for doing this. You can't pay me enough to do this. I'm out of here. And I left. I stood on principle, and I hope it inspires others to do the right thing too.
Definitely, man. And Dave, something you said you wanted a sense of your own. I mentioned this to Gabe before, and I think maybe to you too when we did our live a while back. But I've always admired people who could draw really well and who were just amazing artists like you guys, because it seems like such an outlet. It seems like such a way to get what's in your mind or in your heart out to where you can see it. It seems like cathartic almost. And you guys turned it into, a livelihood, which is great. But kind of give us a little bit of the perks and some of the things you guys got to do working for DC, because I really want to drive home the point of what you guys walked away from. Because DC, like I said in the beginning, you don't need to know a damn thing about comic books to know who DC or Marvel is. It's Xerox, Johnson & Johnson, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, DC. You just know. So what are some of the cool things you guys got to do while working for such a big corporation like that?
I mean, well, the obvious thing is you get paid. You get paid to draw, which is
number one.
And had health insurance and all those types of things. And, I worked for DC, Marvel, Image, you name it, I worked for them at some point or another. But being to work at, DC for as long as I did, Warner Brothers, it's financially, it's getting paid is almost like the equivalent of a compliment, to your work and stuff. It's like, thank you, you did good, here's your money. But also sometimes just getting the compliment is, pay enough after you finish the work. Because like you said, there's a cathartic aspect of it, because it is work ultimately, because you're doing all this stuff in your head and you're made to tell stories. And just like a film director, they have to organize, okay, here's the set director, the set designer, and here's the costume designer, and here's the prop master and all this. I have to figure out all of this stuff within, a page, and figure out the backgrounds and environment and clothing, and keep it consistent all the way through all the different panels and tell a compelling story, So having to think about this stuff constantly and hunched over this table for hours on end, for days on end, until this thing is done, it's a huge relief after you do it. It's just, dare I say, it's orgasmic in a way,
Whoa,
Wow.
whoa!
I need to learn how to draw.
Sorry. But there's something to that, to where you have all of this stuff in you that you just have to release, and get it out. And you want your customers to dig what you do and stuff, and you put in your best effort, and the biggest thing is these companies are big companies, and they're corporate, and they get your name out there in some kind of big way, and they print your book, where on your own it's thousands upon thousands of dollars to do it on your own. That's why we crowdfund now, where we go directly to the crowd source and say, hey, fund this so we could get you this book, instead of going to DC and being a part of their machine that already has, and it's their thing. We're asking the crowd to say, hey, we could do this if you fund it for us, and we could give you something on the same level, you know, as DC and Marvel, or if not better, because it's ours, you know, because once it's a sense of yours, you'll do things that you necessarily wouldn't do for DC, and especially because of their deadlines that you have to finish a book within a month or 2 months or whatever it is at this breakneck pace. Now we could just pump the brakes just a little and say, okay, we'll do it in 3 months, you know, and so we could finesse things a little bit more, you know, or we could say, oh, in 5 months, but we're going to give you more content than what DC and Marvel would ever give you for this price point, you know. Yeah. So the great thing about the alluring trap of, you know, DC and Marvel is it just being DC and Marvel, and they woo you with, you know, oh, you're going to get paid for it, you know, and then it becomes a habit that you have to go keep on asking, you know, and suckle off their teeth for X amount of years, you know. But I've known other artists that didn't go the DC and Marvel route, and they just were, you know, doing it on their own, and then DC and Marvel came to them and said, hey, you know, you want to do a book for us? And they say, no, only unless I could have my character with the character that you want to do. Like Mike Allred did this one book called Madman, and he worked that thing for years, you know, and then DC came calling and said, hey, you want to do, you know, a Superman book? And he said, I'll only do Superman if I could put Madman in it. And so now it elevated his character up to Superman level, you know, to where now it's respected as such. You know what I mean? Right. But that's where I would try to tell younger artists now, if you really want to be something, do it on your own, you know?
Yeah. Especially with the internet, for sure.
Yeah, especially with the internet. If you build it, they will come, you know, so to speak, you know, and if you work it, and you're going to get, you know, some heartbreak, but you work past that, you know, anything that's, you know, worth, you know, is, you know, it's hard, you know, you got to work through it, you know, and get it to that place, you know. Right. Gabe is about to do his own comic book as well and stuff, and I was encouraging him, hey, man,
yeah.
Don't say you're going to do it. Don't say you're going to do it. Just do it. You know, and right. I'm championing him to, you know, just knock it out the park, and just wherever you are at artistically, don't think about what you want it to be. You know, whatever, work where your skill level is now, and then build your audience.
Right. Yeah, it's great advice. So. Do you want my perspective on what it was like for me?
Yeah, and you know, some of the perks you got to enjoy.
I'll go quickly here because it's obvious it's a life story. My earliest memories of drawing were in the back of my grandparents' tortilla factory and Mexican restaurant. I was 4. My brother was in kindergarten. We didn't do preschool, so I would just draw, and I would pull out butcher paper and I would draw X-wings and TIE fighters. I would draw Star Wars space battles. And I always loved to draw. When I was 12, I saw X-Men #1, 12 or 13. I saw X-Men 1 by Jim Lee. He's the vice president, publisher, top artist at DC Comics to this day. He's the big boss over there. And I said when I was 13, I'm going to work for Jim Lee. I'm going to be his buddy. Fast forward, college, more art, more on little jobs. Jim Lee hires me when I'm 29. I work in the studio for 3 years. It's a dream come true. It isn't woke. We're making best art with the best artists and stuff in the world. It's Batman, it's Green Lantern, it's all this stuff, and it's just action and adventure, and things didn't start to really get woke. I mean, things have been woke since the 60s, just slowly growing, but it reached a tipping point in like 2013, 2014, where it exploded, and we all know this. We all experienced it at the same time, and I worked at DC Comics for 3 years here in San Diego. They closed everything at the end of 2010, basically, and I went freelance. They closed everything and moved to Hollywood so they could focus on movies and TV. But being there was a joy and a privilege. I made lifelong friends there. I love my time there. I got my doctorate in art working there. I have a bachelor's in real life, but I got my doctorate by being around veterans. Guys that I had loved since I was 12 years old were now my coworkers in the office. I would take my pencil and ink work to them and show it to them, and they could break down my drawing for me and show me this and show me that. And it was like Jim Lee hiring me and putting me in his studio. And if you know anything about comics, the most prestigious, influential studio in the history of this medium is Wildstorm. If you name all the writers, all the pencilers, all the inkers, all the great colors that have come out in the last 30 years, so many have come through those doors. So to be a part of Wildstorm is to be a Laker. It's to be a Yankee. It's to be a Dallas Cowboy. Like when you're there, you're the best of the best. And although I hate what DC Comics is now, if I turned my camera on, you would see a 7-foot poster on my wall. That's a famous poster drawn by every artist at Wildstorm from 1995. It's an old collectible poster, and it still adorns my office. I still love what it once was. It's woke dog shit now, that company. I don't even recognize it anymore, but it was amazing, and I thank God I was there when I was there. I was there when it mattered, and now that it doesn't matter, I'm not there, so that's good. I went freelance when they did the Hollywood thing, worked for them from 2011, and it started getting weird a little bit in 13, 14, a little weirder. But I rationalized my fear by saying, well, my book's not woke. Like those 10 books are, but mine ain't. Just like, say we're doing 80 books a month as a company. It's like, well, we got 10 woke books. Then a year later, well, no, we got 30 woke books. We got 70 woke books, but it ain't me. And then finally they tell me to do anti-American Superman. I'm just like, you know what? You guys are terrible. But here's if you want to share my screen again, I'm very visual.
Boom. I know how to do it this time.
To work for DC Comics, I got to go to the Aquaman movie premiere and meet Ivan Drago. You want to talk about the benefits, the fun of it? Because I don't want to just be a liar and say it was all negative. It was an amazing experience. And if I could do it all over again, I would do it again because that's why I'm who I am. It's part of my story, part of God's plan for my life. I got to go to that. I got to go to the Shazam premiere and meet Zachary Levi and take my daughter. My daughter is a stand-up comedian. She was living in Hollywood at the time. And, man, I've lost weight. I'm looking great, baby.
Yeah.
And,
Gabe, real quick, Gabe, you mentioned your daughter.
Yeah.
Is there anything special going on any special titles you're about to get in a couple months?
I don't know if that's ready for public release.
Okay. All right, man.
You and David know about that. No, I'll be a grandfather in about 2.5 months. I'll be a grandfather. So buy my book. I hope the link is in the description. Truth, Justice, American Way. David and I need you to buy that today.
Yes.
But no. You should buy it because it's fun and awesome and you'll enjoy it. I'm not a charity case. Let me tell you a fun story about this right here. So Jim Lee gets me tickets to go to the Shazam movie premiere in Hollywood at that Chinese theater, the famous theater. But he got them for me the day before the premiere. And then there are second tickets to go to the Roosevelt Hotel where you see this picture here and this picture here I went to 2 movie premieres when I worked there. But we didn't get tickets to the Roosevelt for this one, me and my daughter. So we watch the movie, and the movie stars are in the theater with you when you watch the movie. There's like, they fill the theater with all kinds of Hollywood people and everyone gets to go. And we walk out, I say some stuff to the actors like, hey, great job, kid. That was a fun movie, blah, blah, blah. And then we're kind of like Charlie Brown doing the sad walk back to our car, me and my daughter. And a lot of people have tickets to go to the party, caddy corner, diagonal across the street. The Roosevelt Hotel is 10 feet from the Chinese theater. And I tell my daughter, hold on, follow me. And I see the lead actress, I forget, she plays Shazam's sister in the movie with like her cousins and whoever, like her family members. And they're walking across to the bouncer at the hotel. And we just get right behind her. And I said, just follow me. And she walks up to the bouncer. She goes, this way? And he goes, yeah. So I just go, this way? And he goes, yeah. Me and my daughter just like, we run into the hotel, go down a few hallways, and then we go into this huge room, and there's just food everywhere and music. Like, yes! So we crashed the Shazam after party, ate everything we could find, eating drinks, snacks, saying hi to Jim Lee and everyone there who knew we didn't have a ticket. But what a beautiful father-daughter memory to sneak into a Hollywood party. This party, I had a ticket to go to this party with my wife. And I'm taller than Ivan Drago, so take that, Ivan Drago. He is a gentleman. This guy's super nice. Here's another thing. Now, I've lost like 30 pounds since my birthday, but I do look fat in this picture a little bit. In my defense, this was like mid-COVID. This is like a year and a half ago. It's my cousin Allison and me at Disneyland. Behind you will see a white and blue X-Wing fighter. I made up the white and blue color scheme when I did the Dark Horse comic. And the reason this is so special to me that a real life X-Wing exists in the color I made up for Princess Leia's X-Wing in the comic is, what did I tell you the first thing I drew was when I was little?
X-Wing.
Right. And there it is in real life. And there's a black and orange one that you saw in the movie. It's also Disneyland. And I also did that in the 2014 comic. So it wasn't all bad working there. The woke is unacceptable, but working there was an amazing blessing. It really was. So
that's awesome, man.
I tried to make that as short as possible.
You did great. Now let me get to some of these supers real quick. From Dave G. Hail Jericho, Gabe, and David. Over watching EVS and just wanted to pop in to say hi and pay my respects. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, we got another one here. Another one here. Which is good. Don't be shy, guys. DJ John T. This guy's from Sweden. Says, hi, Jericho, Gabe, and David. I'm watching this from Sweden, yeah. Greta's on you guys.
Oh, no.
You're the best, man. Love you all. Keep up the great work. Thank you. I appreciate that as well.
How dare you?
That's an unfortunate looking girl, man. I let her slide till she turned 18, but she is fucking horrible. Her ugliness is reflected in her face. Now, something you said, Gabe, the quote, woke dog shit. So this woke dog shit that DC and Marvel have become, and they're settling into their role, it's good for you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Because the more shit they put out, the more woke they get, the more weird they get, the more people they're going to turn off and turn away. And those people are going to have to go somewhere. If you show up to a restaurant and it's closed, you're still hungry. So they're going to go to you guys. So it's a blessing in disguise. You know, you almost want to cheer on their demise and their failure. But speaking of people succeeding and, you know, taking those wayward, fans away from them that they turn away and force out the door, which is basically, what they do. That's how you get things like this. Booyakasha. This is how you get stuff like this. So, David,
Yes,
this Truth, Justice, American Way is actually the name of the characters. So if you want to kind of explain to the audience what this is and who, both of you, what it is, not only what it is as a comic, but what it means to you guys and who these characters are.
Gabe actually has the better spiel. He rattles it off better than me. So maybe
he's a good rattler.
I am a good rattler. That's right. Hey, Jericho, down at the bottom of the screen. I'm sharing my screen, but I'm also sharing a video. We've got a 40-second. It's the other one I'm sharing. I'm sharing another thing. If you play that video, it's concise, it's tight, and it'll show people. And then I can show them artwork. Can you find it?
No, not that one. This one. Okay, I see.
That one right there.
Here we go.
What if the fake news canceled the world's most beloved heroes? When a tragic attack ends the lives of precious innocents, our most celebrated heroes find themselves blamed and canceled by the media that once glorified them. Now in hiding, will they be able to trust each other long enough to prove their innocence? Well, they better fight as hard as they can, because if they don't, an even bigger tragedy is coming. And this time, it will cost millions of lives. Truth, Justice, American Way, the 64-page full-color graphic novel. Get yours today, only on Indiegogo.
There you go. That's what it's about. So
now,
this
I remember talking to you, and you were saying how Justice might be my favorite. I think it might be. But please, go ahead.
He's like a big fan favorite, that guy. But this is our love letter to adventure comic books and all that. And the show that you and I do on my channel Wednesday nights, Double Impact. We just did Lethal Weapon 2. What a great movie that is, by the way. Diplomatic immunity. It's so, guys, you got to tune into my channel Wednesday nights and watch us. We break down these movies that I feel were the zenith of pop culture action and like the masculinity, but not being stupid and macho, the love of brotherhood and what it means to sacrifice and fight and maybe die for your family, for your brother, for your country, for your culture, and how important that is to stand up to evil in the face of terror. I read the Game of Thrones books. They're really good books. The show's too sexual for me. But in the books, the little boy is talking to his father, it doesn't matter who, and he says, "Aren't you scared, Dad?" And the dad says, "You can only be brave when you're scared." You know what I mean? So bravery, yes, you're scared when you're brave, of course, but you do it anyway. And to stand up to DC Comics and to stand up to all the crap that's gone on the last 2 years, we won't say it for YouTube's sake, to stand up to this, it takes bravery in the face of fear. And we want to bring you stories that remind you of that have good jokes in them, that have good action in them, but have those good morals. And we're not like, oh, we're anti-woke, we hate Democrats. No, if you're left, buy my book, please. You're going to like it anyway. We're not against woke. We're just not woke. You know what I mean? We're not trying to be anti-woke. We're just not woke. We're just giving you a straight up adventure. Ghostbusters, Goonies, Lethal Weapon, Star Wars, Indiana Jones. I don't know how Indiana Jones voted, and neither do you. No one does, because it's not the point of the story. So here you can relate to these people on a human level. We're not like, well, he's gay and she's black and he's black and gay, but then he changed it. Like, then he identified as white. Like, come on, none of that matters. You know, it matters that you're a human. You know what I mean? So, and when you're like me, when you're multiracial, on my mom's side, I'm Mexican, Spanish, Syrian, Jew, Basque. On my dad's side, I'm Libyan and Turkish. And what are Libyans? I mean, those are Greeks and Italians. Like, when you have all this in you, and I'm Christian and my father's Muslim, when you come from a family like that, you kind of see identity politics as pretty stupid. Like, okay, is one of my hands Mexican and one's Libyan? Really? Like I'm just a human, and so are you, no matter what you look like. So we don't want to delve into that into our book, because I think it is foolishness. I know it's foolishness, actually. We just want to entertain you with a thrill ride. And David's been at this 30-something years. I've been at 20-something. And Gary, our inker, he's inking David's pencils. He's an old man. You know, he was here before the flood. He was here before the flood, you know. So you have, no, but all joking aside, I think we added it up. We have almost 90-something years of experience between the three of us. You are going to get the highest quality stuff. I have pages if you want to share them. Yeah. I got covers and some pages here if people want to see it. Is there a link in the description, or?
There will be.
Okay. Well, I know, audience, I know you want to buy this because we love action and adventure and entertainment, and I'm not going to give you the hard sell. You check it out. If you think it's great, then I know you'll buy it. But we're doing this because we mean it. I could have stayed at DC Comics, taken their paycheck. I could have said, yeah, America sucks and Superman should hate America and all this stuff. I could have done that if I was a coward, but I'm not. You people out there, by keeping this country going, you've given me a lot, and our ancestors gave us a lot. So I owe you my best. I owe my dad my best. I owe David and Jericho my best. And there's no way I was going to be a wuss and make that garbage stuff. And God bless me with the talent. Why would I use my talent for evil? That's so terrible to me. So do you want to check out pages?
Yeah, I do.
I got them down in that little box down there that you're learning to use.
I'm pinning the, okay. All right, got the link in there. Cool.
Oh, Quitting Time in the chat says, parallel economics coming hard. That's right. I'm involved in a lot of these independent comics. If those of you have heard of Eric July, we got the Isom books for shipping this week. That set a record, 3.7. David and I have another beautiful book called Bass Reeves. He was a real person in the American Pioneer West. He was the greatest bounty hunter, black guy too, by the way. And I think the Lone Ranger is based off of Bass Reeves. We've got that launching next week.
But I remove that. If you look over this shoulder, see those two books right there up on the shelf? That's exactly what he's talking about.
Right.
Bass Reeves.
Right. Bass Reeves is amazing. And I'm so proud of that. We're working on that book concurrently as we work on this. But let me show you a few pages of Truth, Justice, American Way. If you love, if some of you out there love the Marvel movies, the DC movies, all that stuff, you're going to get way better than that here. Because we're guys that we respect, we revere the artists that came before us. I have another show on my channel Tuesday nights with David and a few other of these old crusty veterans. And we geek out on how much we love just comic book illustration. We don't even really talk about the story. We just show old art that inspired us, and we thrill to it, man. And if you're an art nerd and you love illustration, Players Club, Tuesday nights, 7 Pacific, and we just geek out on it. These are the 3 covers with Truth. She's beautiful here. She has this terrible power. She could force the truth out of you, and super athletic abilities. We've got Justice. If you wish the Punisher, they made the Punisher woke. I don't know if you guys know that. So Punisher, Judge Dredd. No, he's woke now. He'd shoot out like conservative people in the comic, Jericho. It's disgusting. So if you love your Punisher, Batman, Judge Dredd, your street level ass kicker, this is your guy. David is so funny. See, David's been quiet. He's like an Ed McMahon type. His sense of humor is hilarious. This character right here, I don't have art ready to show you. He has a gun and he has a nightstick. And on the gun, it's etched, it says easy way on his Glock, and on his nightclub, it says hard way. So you can imagine the choice he gives some of these thugs. It's like, hey, I would be honored, Jericho, if you would do it in your Italian gangster voice. Ask someone if they wanted the easy way or the hard way.
Hey, listen here, you fucking jerk off.
Oh,
you wanted the easy hey, you wanted the easy way or the hard way? Either one, I got it right here.
Righty.
Oh,
Righty.
that's right. Yeah, no, you're the master of that. Your gangster voice there. But yeah, Justice, and then American Way, right? So he's our all-American guy. He had his college football scholarship, this, that, and the other. He worked in a steel mill where his father worked, his grandfather worked. This is middle America. You know what I mean? This is right there, Ohio, Pennsylvania, all that stuff. He fell into a vat of supercharged American steel, turned him into steel from head to toe. What would be a curse to most people, he took it as a challenge and he gives it as a gift to the world to defend the country and the culture he loves. So Truth, Justice, and American Way, they embody those ideals. And when DC Comics ditched that motto for Superman, and legally that's an abandoned like trademark or whatever service mark. So legally they can't sue us. I wish they would sue us for using this. It would get us so much more publicity and make us so much wealthier. Please sue us over this. Please do something stupid like that. Anyway, they embody these three ideals. And here is some of the masterful art from David doing the pencils right there on that big desk, you see. Then Gary, crusty old Gary. I like to call him
Gary.
Right. He would have come on today, but he has an Apple II computer at his house. So, no, just kidding, Gary. Just kidding. He's probably watching. But he's the inker. And for those of you that don't know comics, one man will draw the pencil, and then another man will do the ink, with a paintbrush and pens, just to speed it up. Sometimes the same guy will do both. And then I come in and I color it. Yeah, I'll use digital coloring on the computer. So this is
hold on, wait. So penciling, I get, but what do you mean by ink? What's the difference?
Okay,
between ink
I'll
and
show
color?
you. I have some in progress. You want to make me big on your screen?
So big.
Like make my panel big. If you look at the little boxes of us at the bottom, my little face at the bottom, if you hover over it, there'll be a little white square on the top left of me over Charles Bronson's face. If you touch that, you can make me full screen for a second. And I can show you an example. So here's the page of Beef Law I'm working on. It's a double page spread. This is a different comic. This is a 1990s Jean-Claude Van Damme movie with Chinese and Russian mafia and bad guys selling drugs down by the docks and twin brothers that are kung fu Thai kickboxing fighters. And I'm in the process of inking this. And it's a double page spread right here, and I'm inking it, right? And what you can see is, you see the blue? You see the blue here? That's pencil, and then I go over it with paintbrushes and pens. You see? Okay. So that hair there, I did that with a brush, but at first it was like pencil lines like that. And that's glittering because of my green screen. So there's pencil is your layout stage, then ink is your drawing stage, and then color's digital. You know what I mean? Okay. So sometimes you hire a second person to be the inker, and that speeds up the workflow. Kind of like an assembly line. You know what I mean? Okay. So, yeah. So that's the difference there. So this is a couple pages of Truth, Justice, American Way. Just so you see where we just have that crazy fun here. We got our villain, Davy Jones, flying his killer whale robot thing. It's insane. It's fun. No agenda, guys. Our only goal is to entertain. That's all we want to do because we love this stuff. I told you I started drawing Star Wars when I was 4 on butcher paper. David, you told me you started drawing on butcher paper too, which is a weird coincidence. How old were you?
Yeah, my grandfather was a chef, and he would bring home butcher paper, and I would draw on it in the kitchen, doing Batman, Superman, and all that kind of stuff. Popeye, and that transported me to a whole other world. And when I found out that people did this for a living, and I was just focused on nothing but that, and got my first professional job when I was 17.
Yeah. I mean, think about that. Most people don't get into our business till their 20s. I was 29. My first pro work, I was like 24, 23. But Marvel and DC, I didn't get there till I was 29. David was 17. Go ahead.
They're so fucking stupid because they have all these assets and these things, the DCs and the Marvels, to turn out the things that people want, but they don't. So then they create a space for you guys to do it, and all you're doing is giving people what they want. People don't want to be lectured. They don't want to see characters that they grew up loving turned into fucking weirdos. Just give the people what they want. And if you're too damn stupid to do it, then hey, you guys will gladly pick up the mantle. And something I wanted to mention when you were talking about the characters is Truth's body. It's clear that Truth is a woman. She has a nice bust line. And you were explaining to me, Gabe, on one of our lives how they would have you guys make her like a female character's boobs smaller.
Oh yeah.
When most people that read comics are men, and one thing that we like universally, I've been to 15 different countries. Everywhere I go, men like titties.
What?
So why?
Well, hold on. I just got to take a moment. Are you serious? Dude, I thought that was me.
I'm not kidding around anymore. I was kidding around in the first 10 minutes. I'm not kidding around anymore, okay? Men love titties.
Nah.
So why would you have an opportunity to make big titties, but you want to purposely shrink for what?
Well, I mean, we know why. Here's my theory. You tell me if I'm wrong. Because woke is anti-father. It's smash the patriarchy, they say it. So anything that came before me this morning, since I'm a narcissist T.J.A.W, anything that came before me is clearly wrong. So men liking women, that's sort of the entirety of human history. Yeah. It's wrong because it came before me, right? And then I want to hate men. I want to punish them. So anything they like, football, UFC, anything they like, I'm going to call it stupid and meathead, and I want to ruin it. So, and I just reject that, you know? I completely reject it. So anytime there was sexuality in these books, it's in a timid way. It's not perverted. I wouldn't do porn. You know, when people want to hire me freelance to do stuff, I get offers all the time. I always ask them, is it satanic or does it have witchcraft? And is it pornographic? Because those are my red lines that I will not cross, you know? And, but drawing a woman with her feminine beauty, which includes her boobs, is okay. There's context. We don't have to make it pornographic. And they definitely would at DC Comics. They would, there was some art once I was looking for it right now, but I can't find it, where the queen of this one group and her shirt was cut to here. And then if you know anything about coloring and lighting, you would get a highlight in between where things curve, you get a shadow, you get a highlight. This is just art. It's not perversion. And because I put that highlight there, they're like, can you reduce that? And then they had the guy that did the pencil, because I was just doing the color on this. They had him redraw the dress like this. Oh. You know, it's like, well, why don't you just put her in the hijab? You know what I mean? Why don't we just do that? And but so they would always mess with me on like women being pretty. So whenever there were boobs or a butt in a comic, I would go out of my way to render it as round and big and shiny as possible, just as a middle finger to them. Like, you guys are so bigoted against men. I hate it. There's nothing. I will never apologize for liking women. I'm not apologizing for something.
No, I
get out of here.
I can't do that. Gun to my head or bazooka to my head. I will never do that.
They have a problem with straight men appreciating women, but they're all right with trans men objectifying women and wearing huge fake prosthetic boobs to schools. You know what I mean? They're weird.
If we do like if we do a gorgeous woman, oh, we're nasty perverts because it's wrong for you to like sex and women. But if we put Lizzo up there and we called her a queen, then they would give me an award for that. Like,
that shit is so gross, man.
Like, forget that she's not attractive. What is she doing to her health? That's sad for her. It's not affecting my health. But you can't go living like that for decades. Like, that's really bad for her. And to like then encourage young girls and boys, yeah, go ahead and be 400 pounds. It's fine.
No, like, not only is it fine, it's awesome, and you're at your best when you're at your most unhealthy. That shit. I mean, look, ain't no woman getting kicked out of the bed for eating crackers. Okay,
right?
Big titties, little titties, medium titties. I don't care.
Yeah.
But when you're drawing them, hey, the more the merrier. What's the matter you? What's wrong with a bigger butt? You know, some more pronounced hips, a deeper, you know, bigger, more busty cleavage. I don't see a problem with any of that. But let me get these two quick super chats out of the way. My man, Roy Lee Painter. He's one of my usual suspects. He says, good afternoon again, Americans, Semper Fidelis. He's a former Marine, but I don't hold that against him, man. Go Navy. And then one more, you know, again from my man, Roy. He says, come on and hit that like button, Semper Fidelis. Again, Roy is right. Despite the fact he was a Marine, he is right. Hit that like, hit that sub. We control the algorithms. But this, man, I'm so proud to know you guys because I did a similar thing, maybe not on as large of a scale as you guys, but I walked away from my job and it was getting woke. It was getting bad. It was getting real bad. They had formed this obvious protected class of employees that were impervious to trouble, did what they want, and the rest of us, you better not make eye contact with them. So it was getting like that. But I walked away from my job. I'm doing this now full time. But to see guys like you with the talent you have and the connections you have and the security that you have, right. You know, when you work at a job like David mentioned before, the insurance, all that's security. That's knowing every day, Monday through Friday, or however many days you work, I'm going to have work to do. I'm going to have insurance. I'm going to get a paycheck. And to spread your wings and jump from the woke nest, the SJW nest, even though you were kind of forced out, and you're more forced out in your case, Gabe, but, you know, you kind of left on your own, David. But to go away from that and just bet on yourself, to bet on your talent, your proven talent, and to maybe get more use out of the relationships you formed because now you're doing your own thing. I'm proud to know you guys, and I'm so glad that you're doing it, because if our country is being destroyed via the arts, via entertainment, then that's the way that I believe we can try to repair it. And this is what you guys are doing. And you're not reinventing the wheel. You're just making the wheel that people have grown to love. But for some reason, the big dogs aren't doing that. And it's so stupid. And I'm glad you guys had the wherewithal to do that. And as you guys can see with the screen that I was sharing of Gabe's, you're getting the same top-notch, top-of-the-line artwork. These guys are awesome. They're just doing it under their own umbrella, and I'm glad. And I hope DC and Marvel, I hope they even go faster down the hill of destruction into that SJW bullshit. I hope and pray for it every night, because it's just going to drive more people to what you guys are offering and more people to snap out of this shit.
I would be upset if they quit doing the woke stuff, because they're a multi-billion-dollar corporation. What if they went with normal hero stories that everyone could enjoy? Then we'd be competing with a multi-billion-dollar. Dude, the fact that they're woke is like, I'm a football team, we're playing the Bucks, and Tom Brady's out with an injury. I want him out. I don't want him playing. You know, I don't want them doing a good Batman, and I want them to say Superman sucks. As a businessman, I want them to say that. As an American, I don't. But yes, if I'm competing with them, you know, they're going to go out of business if they keep doing this. Look at how, I mean, they've been sold twice in the last 5 years. That does not mean you're doing good.
Damn.
The CW television channel was sold to Questar Entertainment. A whole TV channel was sold for $0. It was sold for its debt. Questar Entertainment now owns the CW just by acquiring their debt. They didn't pay a penny for the channel. You are not doing good when you sell Green Arrow, Flash, all those shows, all that for no dollars. Can you imagine, Jericho, how rich you'd be if you owned Batman?
Hell yeah.
I would print money. I would print money if I owned Wonder Woman. Yeah, I would just put the sexiest lady as Wonder Woman, the toughest dude as Batman, and it would just be I'd print more money than the Fed during COVID handouts.
Hey, you know what, Gabe? If I owned Batman, I'd buy you that jacket. That's for sure. I promise you.
Now
I promise you that. I'd buy you that jacket. Hey, we got a question here for you guys. To the guests, why do you think the woke mob infiltrated DC and Marvel instead of starting their own craptivist superhero comic series? David.
Because it's easier to take something that already exists and turn it into shit. You know, because they don't have to work for, you know, developing a character over years to get people to like it. Like what I was saying before about new talent coming in, where I would advise them to come up with their own thing and build it. It's easier for someone to come in and say, okay, I'm going to impose my idea on said thing, and I don't care where it goes, because they clearly don't have the same passion as we do of the years of built up of what the character is. They just want to imprint their personality on said character. You know, a good writer doesn't go, if I was Batman, I would do ... No, a good writer goes, what would Batman do in this situation in spite of my religious background, my political affiliation, my religion, or any of that kind of stuff. They think as what Batman would do, knowing what Batman's history is. So these people coming in, they don't care about that. They just want to imprint their own personalities and fight a culture war instead of just producing good comic books that could appease everybody. They forgot about business. And the part where I go, I don't care if DC or Marvel fails, is because they don't care. So it's not me not loving the characters. Of course I will. I'll always love them, but they should fail because they don't care about the business.
Yeah.
And they allowed people who don't care about the characters in the business, you know, to run amok and just run up their tab. So if they get X'd out or whatever, just like Toys R Us, that doesn't exist anymore. What makes it any better that DC shouldn't exist anymore, or Marvel, or any of that kind of stuff?
Agreed.
And I'm glad to, you know, step in their place if people would want to invest in our books as here's our start, and then it could build on to other creations under, you know, our brand and stuff like that, and it could flourish just like Marvel or DC if the people want, you know, something other than, you know, DC and Marvel have been, you know, comic books is created for the collector, the junkie, but the junkie wants good crack, you know, and they don't want it spiked with, Ajax.
Spoken
You know
like
what
a
I
man who grew up in South Central.
Yeah. So if you're spiking the drug, you know, the druggie's going to get off of it and go, you know, I don't feel good after I, you know, take this.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we want people to feel good, and we're not trying to subvert their expectations of what the comic book is.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we're not trying to lecture, because most collectors are adults anyway, to be perfectly honest. You know, do we want younger audiences? Of course, absolutely. Kids don't read anymore. They just play video games. You know, but I want to encourage them to read and use their imagination. And that's the great thing about comics, because they don't do step by step every single scene. The way the story's told, your mind fills in the gaps. You know, but in a video game, they tell you everything. You know, that's why so many people are just kind of brain dead playing video games. You know, because it's all told to you. You know,
it's more passive. So you're right.
We're trying to evoke an imagination in people that could spark something in them that, even if they're creative, that they'll want to write or draw or do whatever. That's it. It made me want to do it, and I've been doing it for over 30 years.
Right. I agree completely. To go back to your question, Jericho, why don't these people just make their own thing? Well, as we all know, a wise man once told me, you can't have communism until you have capitalism first. A man named Initials JG told me that once. And SJWs, by their very nature, their entire heuristic on life is self-worship themselves as God. They're narcissists, very insecure narcissists. When your entire religion in your mind revolves around no discomfort, pleasure at all times, you won't work hard. You don't work hard, ergo, you're not a good writer, you're not a good artist. So you weasel your way into editorial and all these things at these companies, and then you can tell the talent what to do. Some of the talent is SJW, but it really is coming from editorial in Hollywood. That's where it's coming from. The power-hungry, narcissistic, untalented artistic failures that most editors and producers are. They're very untalented, narcissistic, and they couldn't make Superman. But what they can do is hijack him and put their crap message on him. So that's why they don't make their own stuff, because it won't effing sell. That's why. And you see it when they turn Superman into this stuff, when they turn She-Hulk, and they turn Star Wars, and they turn Star Trek, and they turn this video game. I mean, we see it everywhere. The SJWs, it's like a mold. You know, you pick up one of your apples, you're like, oh, damn. And then you look at the rest of them, and you're like, ah, damn. They all have mold all over these things. They're just spreading everywhere to everything in our culture because they're narcissists and they're authoritarians. And they want to force speech and they want to force thought on you. And eventually that ends up in the gulag. And people are like, oh my God, a gulag. It's comics, dude. Chill out. And I want to tell you, like, how do you think it starts? How do you think it starts? Politics is downstream from culture. When you erase people's cultural identity, their language, the way they talk to each other. I love it, David. Show them the gun. Where's the gun? Okay, Jericho, we need a voiceover on this.
Hey, you want it the easy way or the hard way? Makes no difference to me, asshole.
Hey, I think that is my favorite character, man.
Right.
I love the other two, but I think that's my one, man. He's right in my wheelhouse, man. I like that shit. I like his attitude. Go ahead, Gabe.
But I was saying, yeah, that's why they don't make their own stuff, because they can't. You know, and it's like, oh, you hate gay, you hate LGBT. I could give a shit who you sleep with. That's your business. You're an adult. I do not care. Do you know how uninteresting that is to me? It is so uninteresting to me who anyone sleeps with. I don't care. As long as you're adults, whatever, dude. It's not my problem.
Shit.
It's not as ugly as you people are. Ugh, better you than me. You know, shit.
Hey, hold that up again, Dave. What picture did you hold up again?
There's the boobalicious truth.
That's the truth.
Yeah,
that is the truth. Hey, we got another super chat here. Hold on a second. There we go. From Christian, our Canadian connection. What's up, yo hoser? He says, hello, boys, from Jericho's Canadian connection. Cheers. Cheers to you, man. And one more from my man, Chuck McDaniel. He says, what's the point of comics if you're just going to draw plain, ordinary people? I want to see pumped up men and well-endowed ladies.
Indeed. Here.
Pretty simple formula. Why they keep getting away from it, I don't know. But it's a great formula that has served us well.
Yeah.
And one more. Chuck McDaniel says, I had to edit the hell out of that shit. Yeah, you know, sometimes they get crazy with the way you word things with the super chats. That's great, man. Like I said, I really admire those who can draw like that good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. My brother, he's a really good artist, and he's so nonchalant. He's like, oh, yeah, you know, no big deal. I just sketch this with sidewalk chalk. You know what I mean? Just really talented, man. That's awesome. Oh, Bass Reeves.
All right. Look how great that is. It's a Western. And again, it's historical fiction, but it's based on some real true stories of his life. Mm-hmm. And David is drawing his face off on this. And this is how David and I met like 2-3 years ago. And the book took a long pause because of COVID. But we're back at it. We only have one issue left to go for the first volume. It's 6 issues. And the publisher, we don't own this one. Allegiance Arts is publishing this, and they're having a launch on the 4th, David, or what day?
Yeah, on the 4th. Yeah.
On the 4th of October, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Allegiance Arts is going to be launching a 6 issues, all collected in a graphic novel. If you share my screen, that's an action page right there, huh?
Yeah, that's a big Indian.
Look at that.
I like that, though, the big upper body and the small, skinny legs.
Right.
You know, that's awesome. Man.
Well, but it triggers, see, David, this is bigoted because you're triggering men that are fat, disgusting people. It's unrealistic musculature. How dare you? How dare you?
Well, Gabe, you should know, if you look on David's Instagram profile, it says, I'm here to discuss fat, disgusting people. So you should know that, man, right off the top. I like that, though, man. I do.
Oh, it's a hoot, awesome. This book. It's macho. It's family-oriented. And one of the key themes, without spoiling it, is a black father not being around his son enough and his son getting in trouble.
That's it. This live stream's over.
Interesting topic. Over. Interesting. And the author's a super racist black guy who hates black people. Oh, wait, that's right. He's not racist at all. He's just telling a good story that's pretty relevant to our world.
That's all they want, man. That's all the people want. It's very simple. Again, like when you talk about the action movies, there's about 5 things you need in every action movie. And if they would just do that, the template's already been made. Just copy and paste. Give us the shit we need. But they won't. I hope somebody does it. The Maverick, that's a good start. That was an excellent movie. If you haven't seen that, check it out. No woke bullshit, just action and wholesomeness. Remember that?
It was even anti-woke because, spoiler, the only female pilot is the one to crash.
Well, naturally.
Women drivers, am I right? So.
Drivers / flyers, whatever.
I did like that. I was with my son watching it like, hey, the woman's the only one that crashed. So
I mean, not for nothing.
Jericho, did I ever tell you about the game I invented when my kids were like middle school age?
No.
If someone were driving as a family and like someone cut us off or ran a red light or just did something stupid or dangerous, we had a game called Old, Asian, or Female. And you had to guess. And then we would pull up to that car and see who was the most correct. So that was our game. So,
and usually it was one of the three.
Yes. And if you could hit all three, that was a rare day, man. You know.
I remember where I used to live was in Monterey, and every year they would have a Korean dry cleaner association. All these Korean dry cleaner business owners would come and meet in Monterey, and all of a sudden you come around this turn, and traffic is ground to a halt, basically, and you're like, what's going on? There's no major events, Laguna Seca, there's no races out there, there's no Monterey County Fair. So what's going on? And 9 times out of 10, it's a caravan of minivans numbered 1 through whatever, and it was all the Korean, dry cleaning business owners, and they were driving terribly. Guys, I'm not trying to be racist here. I'm just telling you what I lived. Some stereotypes, they're true. They are.
True.
But I like that shot, where you're basically looking down the barrel, getting it the easy way. That person obviously chose the easy way, and that's what they're getting, man. And this is great. And I can't wait to get my hands on one.
Yeah, so it'll be out. Oh, we made an announcement about that today. It'll be out after the new year. We're not exactly sure when, because when I talked to the printer, they said we basically had till now to finish it. And if we didn't finish it like by now, then you got to deal with the holiday printing schedule. I don't know the details of that, the particulars, but they just told me at the holidays, the printing slows down or they're too busy. So it'll be printed in the new year. I don't know exactly when, and everyone who's bought it, you get regular emails from me at least once a month, if not twice. Everyone who's bought it gets an email, and it shows new art, where we're at, and we have stickers. You're going to get stickers. We have T-shirts for sale. We have all trading cards, and some of that stuff you get for free, because we said if we hit certain benchmarks on fundraising, if we hit 50,000, everyone gets a free trading card. If we hit this much, everyone gets a free print. If we hit this much, we added pages to the book with some character descriptions. We added stickers now that everyone can get, and those things are free. And you can see that on the Indiegogo page. I put a link in our private chat, Jericho, if you want to put the link to this there.
Yeah, I've been putting it up in the super chat or in the chat section. I'm also going to put it up in the description box when we're done, and I'll have it pinned. I'll have it pinned to the top of the comments as well. But I'm excited, man. I can't wait to get my hands on a physical copy. Of course, I'll have you guys back to talk about it. I'll try to not give away any spoilers, but I'm really looking forward to reading this with my son.
Awesome.
I want to create a situation where I'm reading more to my son, and it's something that we're both excited about, and we're both mad when I got to dog ear the page and save it for tomorrow. Because as a parent, usually when you're reading stories, it's really kid shit, and you're trying to get through it because it sucks. And this is literally no bullshit, the 20th time you've read this book in the last month. So something like this that's exciting and it has a good message in it, and we're both going to be excited. I can't wait, man. I can't wait. Any posters or anything you guys have available, I'm going to have them in my son's room. I'm excited.
Awesome. I would say one more thing about that. The tone of this, you can read this book if you're 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. You can read this book if you're 47 years old. It's like the Batman animated series, how that won Emmys, but it was for kids, right? Mm-hmm. But as an adult, like, whoa, that's a good show. It's complex enough for adults to be totally engaged, and it's fun enough for little kids, like Star Wars. I love the original Star Wars, not woke Star Wars. But the original Star Wars, I watched it at age 4 or 5, loved it. I watched it at age 35, still love it. So, and that's what David and I are doing with this book. Everyone can love this thing. It has enough complexity, more than enough for adults. So,
very exciting, man. And I thank you guys for coming on here with me, man. Like I said in the beginning, it's Friday. You know, you guys got exciting shit to do. Obviously, Dave got some work in front of him. Thank you for the illustration, David. You know, and you guys got lives, you guys got family and shit like that. So for you guys to carve out some time for me is much appreciated. Is there anything you want to plug, Dave, before we get out of here? Anything you got going on that people need to know about aside from Truth, Justice, and American Way?
Well, Bass Reeves, like we said, it's on Indiegogo to sign up. Bass Reeves, West of Hell, is looking for more people to get this book and be ready to get it when it launches on October 4th. It's 6 issues worth of comic books, so it's a lot of work. And it's me and Gabe, some of me and Gabe's best work. And that's a fine example of some of the interior work. And it's a great story. It's a real story. And I think it'll look great on your shelf. There's going to be a hardbound version of it and also softbound collected edition. So get on the early list to be a part of the campaign when it opens on October 4th.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, please check out Bass Reeves. But definitely where my heart is right now is Truth, Justice, American Way. This is more than just a project for Dave and I. This is where we stand as men, as fathers, as patriots, and we absolutely are revering. Comic books are an original American art form, by the way. They were invented about 100 years ago in this country. So eat it, Europe. Eat it, Japan. They have great comics there. They do have great comics in those countries. But we made them here. That's right. Just like the TV, just like the space shuttle, just like the internet. This is American comic books, and we should be proud of that. We should be humbled that our ancestors made this for us, and this is a love letter to that. So if you're watching right now and you love action and adventure, I want you to click the link and buy this book today. I know you'll love it. You'll get so much joy out of it. It's beautifully put together by men who are convicted to A, make great entertainment, and B, honor a heritage of great comic book creators that came before us and created this industry so we could just come in here and have careers. You know, that's what you're getting here is pure passion. So thank you all so much. Please, everyone who can hear the sound of my voice, get this book. Tell your friends. We lost our culture. You know, It's a Wonderful Life. Frank Capra, Donna Reed, Jimmy Stewart. We could have went that way with Hollywood and entertainment, and we went the other way. Late 50s, 60s, we went the other way. America hating, Western civilization hating. And the way we lost our culture is through dirty, filthy entertainment that hates its own father. We can win it back with stuff like this, but we can't do it without you. You're a part of this. Do you know what I mean? You're more than a customer. You're part of Truth, Justice, and American Way when you support this. And I mean that. And you know I mean it because I could have just stayed at DC Comics. Dude, I'm half Mexican. I'm half Libyan. The woke people loved me there. They didn't know my politics. I didn't say nothing. You know, that was a little wimpy on my part. I will admit that. I'll own that. But finally, I had enough. When you come after the American way, you lost me. I'm not doing your stuff. So you're a part of that when you support this. And I would be honored and love to have the support of all of you watching this. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here, Jericho. Thank you.
Hey, again, thank you very much, guys. And if you guys want to have your fingerprints on the recovery of America, when you need to get this, the link will be in the description box. David Brohawk Williams, Gabe Eltaeb, thank you guys again for taking your time to come on my channel. And people in the comment section, thank you for your comments, your questions, your super chats, everything. I appreciate it. Say it with me, people. You know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. Please subscribe, hit that notification bell because every time it rings, a piece of shit lefty cries. Utilize the Linktree link. Get your ass over to JerichoGreen.net and mygreengear.com. I am Jericho Green. Man, I'm out.